And we're back. Summer break is over, and it's home turf. My boys here. We're gonna win.
The last
Unfortunately,
one
yeah.
ever, at least for the foreseeable future. At least we're going out with a bang. Sprint weekend should be good.
I I hope they bring it back. I suck at driving this track personally. Um, Pretty bad at it, but I do enjoy the races here. It's been around since the first race was 1952. There's quite a bit. It's an interesting track in my opinion. There's 14 corners. You have like a hairpin at turn one, and then you have a banked turn. We don't. I
Two
haven't
bank
looked
turns. You have one and two
to.
into sector three
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, it's a very obscure track layout. I think it's cool. You have a good mixture of
I
high
think
speed, low speed.
I think that's why I enjoy it. Is it's such a unique circuit that it kind of has its own character. I think it's located right on the coast, and so weather is often a factor here. We'll get into that here in a second, but I think um, it makes for some memorable conditions and racing that looks different than it might in other places. So,
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, last year was a bit chaotic. I think Kimmy
well,
ran into, was it Hamilton? Kimmy took out a
um,
Ferrari. I believe it was
yeah, we had
Hamilton.
an incident with Hamilton in Sector One. We
The
had
Danny
Lando's
Rick corner.
DNF. Yeah. Speaking of which, we're already getting
We'll
ahead of
get to it.
ourselves here.
No, no, no. We'll wait. We'll get there.
So
Asterisk. That's coming up.
yeah, bookmark that. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Usually we hear things about how F1's not interested in coming back or putting certain tracks on rotation. In this instance, it seems like for whatever reason the promoter did not choose to extend the contract, even though F1 was interested. So I don't know all of the details there, but I've found that interesting.
I
Seems to be
I
successful. Dutch fans are crazy. Max is crushing it. Seas of orange and fireworks, and
that
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't quite understand.
That was my next point. Is like arguably not even an F1, arguably the most popular racer in the world currently. Like wherever he goes, it's a sellout. The promoter doesn't want to continue that man's home race. That makes zero sense. They're like you said, don't know the details. A lot
Yeah,
of times these tracks, it's all down to money. They don't want to pay, but I would imagine that they make money at this track.
I have to imagine um, communities like that. I don't really know much about Zandvoort, the town itself, but
It's
communities like
tiny.
that, like oceanfront properties, are really heavily reliant on tourism and people going on vacation and that money to support their local economy. And so when you have something as big as a Formula One Grand Prix, especially in a season when the best driver on the grid is Dutch, it doesn't make sense to me.
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't.
know.
From my knowledge, and this is going off of other people talking about this track, is it is not a big town or city.
Mm-mm.
It's small. Like if you go out, you're going to like local like pubs or how whatever the Dutch call them. I know everyone has like different. We have bars. European countries have pubs. So, yeah, I don't think it's a big area. I would like, we don't need to sit on the money forever, but you would imagine that with the big time racer, Formula One wanting to be there, the fan base, you would think it would stick around. And even Lando had a quote in an interview over the last couple of days that it's like, oh yeah, I really enjoy this track. He was what last year? He
We
won in
DNF last year,
2024.
but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was yeah.
Piastri won last year, Lando won the year before, and then we have Max the previous 3 years. So drivers like this circuit. So it's a bummer. That seems to be a theme though. Is a lot of favorite circuits are, it's like Spa going out of rotation. It's like, why are we losing some of these?
Because F1's a business, man, and all that matters
I,
is money.
I don't care. um, but weather, I mean, it's a good point. We're on the coast. You have sand, you have wind, you have rain. Um,
It rained today. We're filming on Thursday, so it rained Thursday. There's a chance of rain tomorrow for practice and sprint quali. Um, although it kind of tapers off throughout the weekend, so it's unlikely that we're going to see rain during race quali and the race itself. However, that doesn't mean weather's not going to be a factor. The wind, coastal city, you've got sand dunes, and we already know how much wind can catch drivers out under braking conditions. You see snaps and mistakes and all kinds of things, even at tracks where this doesn't seem to be as significant. So I think we're going to get some interesting dynamics here where, a critical gust of wind or a mistake could make or break your qualifying or your race. So, well, excited to see that play out.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and we have been talking about it every single preview. It'd be great to see some weather. I feel like everyone I listen to, any fans I know, are all like, let's mix it up a little bit. But it does seem like the chances of weather are going to be more towards the sprint
Mm-hmm.
than the Grand Prix, which would still be kind of fun because the sprint is, a sprint to the finish. It's very like, all right, get it done, quality lap speed. So that would be crazy. My personal preference is I'd much rather see that during the Grand Prix because it's so long and there's a lot more strategy involved.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's where I was going to go. As long as when we get rain, there's opportunity for strategy, and we don't
yeah.
just get everyone on wet tires for the entirety of the race.
No one wanting to
That's what I
pit during
want.
the sprint and just limping home on the slicks.
Yeah,
That
little
would be kind
parade.
of interesting. Um,
Yeah,
big news, big news. Hajar has fractured his wrist.
wrist hand. I'm not sure, but
From what I understand, it's wrist. And I found this interesting because I was looking at some drivers' like Instagram accounts over like summer break, just kind of, poking around. And Hajar has just like been out and about having fun like most of them. And then all of a sudden, like the day before, they're all like getting in, which they could have been hiding the news.
mhm.
He has a
Well,
fractured
I'm sure
wrist.
they were optimistic that they were trying to push him to see if he was capable of racing. I don't know when the injury happened. Um, for whatever reason, VCarb has hand and wrist issues when they come to Zandvoort.
Yeah,
This is the same track that Danny Rick crashed the wall, hurt his hand, and that's where we saw Liam Lawson get his first opportunity to step into the seat.
deja vu.
Um, yeah, and here we go again. We've got Hajar out. Liam again steps up into the big boy team. It's going to be alongside Max in that Red Bull seat, while Yuki is the one who gets to fill in at VCarb. So this is going to be pretty interesting. I think the other thing that I found is that Nikola Solov, I think
Solov,
is how
yeah.
you say his name.
Solov.
Not enough super points to jump
Nope.
into the seat at this point. I think if he had points, this probably would have been a much more difficult decision for the Red Bull teams about who goes where and how to navigate that. Because they've got
Honestly,
Yuki as their third driver, but I know that they love their young drivers and want to give opportunities. So
I don't even think they would have hesitated. I think they would have moved Liam to Red Bull and but I can't even say his name now. I just said it correctly.
Solov.
Solov into the V car because it's an opportunity for them to see where he's at. Because I mean,
Yep.
Yuki hasn't had any physical time in the
In
new
these
reg
cars.
cars. He's only had sim time, so chances are he's not going to do well. And yeah, I don't think they would pick him. But going into this weekend with these driver moves is very interesting for both teams. Hajar's an avid boxer growing up, gets injured. Like you said, maybe it was a stupid decision, or honestly, I think he probably just got back into training. Was trying to get some like cardio in or whatever, and just happened to
Mhm.
get injured, which is unfortunate. He's having a pretty quality season, but what's crazy is Liam. I would imagine. I forgot to check. Do we have back-to-back weekends? Do we have a doubleheader, or is there a gap?
Oh,
Neither of us checked.
copy. Yeah, great. We're on top of it.
Oh yeah, we're back.
Experts
baby.
in our field.
We're
We have a week gap.
Okay, so there's a gap.
September 5th.
So you
Yeah.
think wrist injury? He might be out for a few weeks. So Liam might get multiple races. This is Liam's shot at trying out for Red Bull if they're not happy with Hadjar, or more so other teams. Like, hey, I could jump in, I could step up because we've talked about it. He kind of got the shaft before and that dictatorship that was at Red Bull before is gone. It's new management. It's a little bit more of a calm, less toxic environment. But on top of that, what I found interesting was Liam's having a good season points wise. This is an opportunity for him to get driver's points and earn points to Red Bull, but this is hurting VCarb's constructors big time because I doubt Yuki is going to be in the points. So all of a sudden, instead of having two RBs in the points every week, you have an opportunity for other midfield teams like Audi and Alpine to gain points on them significantly.
Yeah, I think I have a slightly more pessimistic view of how this is kind of shaping out for them. I'm assuming that Red Bull is not very happy that this happened in terms of Hadjar's injury, and B, not very ecstatic about their options to solve the issue. It seems to me that they don't really have a preference towards Liam, right? There's a reason why they brought Lindblad in, and I think ultimately they're trying to put Lindblad in a position to ultimately get that Red Bull seat. And I think Liam is there, and he's done well this season, but I have to think that there's some bad taste in their mouth given his performance in that Red Bull seat last year. And so this really does feel like this is your last opportunity to get into this Red Bull seat. Like you either get in and you crush it and you're competitive, and then we can revisit this conversation, or you're out of the points and you will never be in a Red Bull seat ever again.
It's maybe a tryout was wrong. I think it's a showcase. Like, you have nothing to lose. You already got cut from this position. If you jump in, we know that Red Bull is way more aggressive to drive than the V carb. That's always been a thing. You jump in this car, if he performs well, he's in the points. Hey, teams that have, like, we have a bunch of signings, we'll talk about it, but hey, teams that have people going out of contract, I'm this good. Mm-hmm. I could jump in a top team and I could do well. If he does poorly, he's having a good season, he's at V-Carb, we'll see what happens from there. Like, he obviously is a good driver, but hasn't made the cut at Red Bull. I mean, it's hard to say that because I'm on the side of, like, he didn't get an opportunity, really.
I 100% agree with that, but I think just Red Bull's track record is there's such a lack of patience with that team that they're so quick to move on to the next guy. You don't get two chances. Like, this is your chance.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only big thing is they don't have Helmut Marko anymore.
Yeah.
It was the big, like, okay, bye. Like, it's like when Hadjar crashed in his first race and he was, like, crying. Helmut Marko, like, lit him up, and then Hadjar turned around and had a good season. He was one of the guys with, like, no patience. Horner, Helmut Marko. Now you have new team principal. Red Bull just got Gwen from Mercedes, who was their talent scout. The guy has a good track record of finding a good driver, so there might be a little bit more patience there. I still don't think they have a huge, like for Liam, but I think if he gets like 2 races in or something, he might. Like I said, tryout's probably the wrong word because he's not really trying out for Red Bull, but I think it's an opportunity for him to showcase and kind of give him like hey, you guys effed up. Especially, doubt this, if he performs better than Hadjar's been. Because Hadjar's been good, but not great. Like,
yeah.
You look at the top 4 teams, it's like 7 out of 8. Then you have the 8th guy down a little bit, and then you have top of the midfield. So he's like an outlier right there.
Yeah, I think there's very little upside to this, I guess, is where I'm headed. I don't think there's a world where Hadjar loses his seat. I don't think Liam's getting promoted. I think this really is are you going to stay at V-Carb, or are you going to lose your seat? Solov's going to come in and you're going to be looking for your next opportunity. So I think in that degree, I think we agree.
Yeah, I think honestly the biggest thing is this hurts V-Carb season. I think that's I think Red Bull's
pissed.
I
didn't think about that, but that's a great point.
And I think it hurts V-Carb. So they might lose millions of dollars because the Red Bull driver hurt himself.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's sister team, man. It's a tough life.
Just the bottom man on the totem pole.
I like Yuki, but he's not going to come in and That
Mm-mm.
I
Well,
think
he's
we're
a Honda driver. They're not using Honda anymore. Like I think they kind of just kept him around as a stopgap. So I don't know. I'm not sure he's with the team next year either, but we'll see.
I don't think so.
Um, what do you think is going to happen to Liam? Where what is this going to look like? Because he was in a very similar situation some years ago when he filled in for Danny Rick. Given that wasn't a sprint weekend, he had a little bit more practice time. Um, I actually just one more practice session because it happened in FP1, I believe. But he had a decent race filling in for Daniel Ricciardo with limited opportunities there. How do you see that playing
I
out?
was listening to some other podcasts and thinking about this on the way home. That's like my daily F1 info and research, and I was just kind of laughing to myself because someone joked that, oh, VCarb gets a break from Liam and Lindblad being neck and neck the whole time, and this isn't necessarily a thought for the sprint because I think minimal. I think the sprint's going to kind of be his practice for the week, like the GP, as long as he doesn't bin it, which I
Mm-hmm.
hope he doesn't. I mean, I wish him the best. I think it'd be pretty funny, and it's probably very likely that he ends up racing Lindblad anyway, because I think he's going to be off the pace, but he's going to be faster than the midfield car-wise. So I think he might end up fighting for like in the top 10, but he might be with Lindblad, which would
Oh,
be
the drama,
hilarious.
the drama if that happens. That's
Imagine
yeah.
them making contact.
It'll be
I, I
You've been
think he
predicting that for a while. It may finally happen.
I think he could finish top 10. I think it would be unreasonable to say that he beats out any of the other top team drivers.
Yeah.
Given everyone has, like a normal race, things happen, but I
I
don't think he
I'm
outperforms
of
any of
the
them.
opinion that I think he's also capable of a top 10 finish. I would estimate that this early in a regulation set that there can't be quite as dramatic as a difference between cars between VCarb and Red Bull, especially when so much of this is power unit and battery dependent. Um, so I think he'll have a decent race, but who knows? Anything can happen.
Yeah, I would imagine it's not terribly different. You have the Macarena wing and I'm sure some tweaks to the aero suspension like
I didn't
knife
even
edge.
think about the Macarena
Yeah,
wing
I think that's the
and the
big one.
Red Bull. Oh man, yeah, the issues they've had with that wing, and now Liam's getting tossed into it.
Well, it should
So,
be
oh
fixed,
boy.
but
Well,
it'll be interesting to see.
yeah. Is it
It's
fixed? I don't
fixed.
know.
Max, it's fixed.
A little
Um,
duct tape, some
I
spit,
think that's
bubble
kind
gum.
of that situation is kind of the excitement of the weekend, the way I look at it. Like outside of like the race itself, and we want it to be exciting, but like drama wise, that's gonna be very interesting to see how that unravels. And my thing is like, okay, does Yuki keep it out of the wall, and does Liam keep it out of the wall first?
I have predictions. We'll talk about it later.
Fun. Okay.
Um, well, I for one am very grateful to stop talking about this. Do you want to be the one to spread the
I
news?
Max signed till 2030. I could cry. I think this ties the most excited I've ever been for a sports related contract outside of the Niners signing Christian McCaffrey. Like that was stoked because I'm like, oh, the Niners finally got like a freaking dream running back. Um, dude, so stoked. We have Max through these regulations and the first year of the next. So he set himself up to get a taste again of like, hey, we going to V8s? Do I like this? Cool. Let's sign for another 3 years. And I would imagine if he did another reg set, he'd be done after that. If he even does the whole thing. Um,
I think this was the best scenario for the sport in terms of its outlook. You know, we've talked about this numerous times. We want Max in the sport. And you know, there was so many rumors between GP leaving and the performance of the Red Bull and the grass is greener at Mercedes and all of these things. And a lot of people that were convinced he was either out of the sport or at another team sooner rather than later, only for him to turn around, sign this contract extension and say, hey, I'm comfortable here. It feels like family. Um, the future vision is openly communicated. I have freedom to go do GT3 racing and all of these other opportunities. And then he shared the anecdote that, hey, when Dietrich was alive, I told him my goal is to race with Red Bull forever. That speaks volumes and squashes so many of these rumors about his happiness with the team. And I think the reality is he wants to be in an environment where he can be himself, and he wants to be competitive, and he feels like he has a future doing that with Red Bull. And it really doesn't matter how green the grass is or who goes where. He's happy where he is.
Yeah, you nailed it. The Dietrich thing had been said previously, not recently, which is funny because you would think that would come up. Like it had been said previously, I don't know, years ago. Yeah, I think the freedom, how comfortable he is there, they build the team around him. Like as the best driver and what you want, that is exactly what you want. He's won 4 championships. I obviously I would never say that Max doesn't want to win more championships. I think having the access to other things isn't more important than a championship, but it allows him to be like, okay, well, I have these things, and he said before, like, oh, it'd be cool to go win 8 championships, but like, I've done what I came to do. Like, I have asserted dominance. This is who I am. Um, I think Red Bull will get their act together in these the regs. It's not like they have a bad
no
car.
doubt.
He will be competitive. He knows that. I think a big thing too is that like all the people leaving Red Bull is kind of whatever. I can't remember his name now, but there's an interview with the head mechanic that he started a podcast anyway. He's like, a lot of people make it a big deal, but the way that a lot of these teams work is you have all these people rising through the ranks to take these spots. So people leaving isn't as big of a deal as they make it. You know, like this team has 2,000 people. The head engineer or whatever, you know, whoever's leaving, it's not like they just left a huge gap. It's just like a big name. You know, it's a
Next
surface
man
level
up.
thing. But you don't hear the toxic stuff. You know, 2 years ago, all this stuff with Christian Horner and Helmut Marko, and like you keep hearing all this stuff, and you don't hear that from them anymore. I think Laurent Mecki kind of has the team figured out, runs a good ship. He has a good background. I think he, you know, is a loyal man of his word. I think he felt like the situation was right, and I think you nailed it. I think this is the best thing for F1. I think as much as people don't like racing against them, they also love racing against them, and I think everyone knows. I think they would have lost huge viewership, to be honest. I just lost my last point, but that's okay. It'll come back.
Well, my thought is this feels kind of like that turning point. How I imagine it
Come back to
felt
me.
at the beginning of what was it, 2019, early 2020, when the team really felt like they started to actually have the car underneath them. They had Checo come on board, and then that presented the opportunity for Max's first championship. This feels like a similar kind of season where Laurent Mekies is playing chess and putting the right people in the right spot, and they're developing a new car and developing culture, and finally have a decent driver in that second seat. It feels kind of similar.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with this re-signing, I don't know if you've seen the video, but it's pretty funny. Red Bull took a very lighthearted approach to it, announcing it. Look it up. But Max said he was closer to retiring than to moving to another team. Like he was either Red Bull or he was gone. So I'm sure there was all kinds of contract talks back in there. I don't know what, you know, I'm sure there's agreements of like, hey, I have the freedom to go do GT3 racing and this and that. But it's crazy to think you see all these, like he met with McLaren, he's talking to Toto Wolff. You have to think some of that is leverage to, hey, Toto's willing to pay me this much. Hey, McLaren would open this chair, you know, the seat in a year, moving Piastri, you know, whatever it is. But it's just like any sport. It's like, okay, you know, if you want to be the highest paid running back, you're like, okay, well, let me go
Let
hold
me
out or
shop
get some.
around.
Yeah, let me shop
Yeah.
around and see what people offer, which sometimes goes very poorly. But when you're the best driver, it's different than
Times.
other sports, right?
Um,
It's literally just who wants to write the biggest check. It's not even about a cap thing. Like the pay
yeah.
is just like, yeah, we'll pay you more.
Um, should we talk about a couple other contracts that have been signed?
Yeah. Funny thing is, people don't know this obviously, but you were on vacation. I was like, oh, I'm going to put some extra notes in here. And before we recorded this, I put like 11 drivers out of contract next season, and then like the next day, everyone started signing contracts. So I'm like, well, this is stupid. So go ahead and get into these guys.
Next week you can just write in the notes Lando Norris comes back and wins driver championship.
I'd be okay with that.
And we'll see if that
I'd be okay with that.
pans out. No, Williams. Our boy James Vowles somehow corrals his team and has managed to re-sign both Sainz and Albon. Albon on a 1-year deal, or 1-year extension, I should say, rather. And so that makes him open for contract in the 2020 season. It's kind of forecasted that that's
2028.
a point in which, yep.
You said 2020. We're going backwards.
2028. Thank you. When more drivers kind of become available and seats open up. And so it seems like Alex wants a little bit of flexibility when that time comes around. And I think more surprisingly, Sainz signed, that took some mental energy there. Sainz signed a 2-year extension, which was surprising to me because I think if you had asked me before the summer break, I think the consensus was Sainz is thus far disappointed and not very happy at Williams, probably regrets not signing with Audi given their performance compared to Williams' performance and what was promised and delivered earlier this season. Yet, he's been convinced to stick around, and he's going to give it 2 years. Is that a combination of James Vowles selling it, or maybe anticipation that there's going to be limited opportunities for him to move into a more competitive seat? I don't know. But it came as a little bit of a surprise for me that Sainz opted for a 2-year.
I think, yeah, that was surprising. I think Albon, I think that's a double-edged sword because I think he's playing it smart, doing a 1-year extension because it does open up opportunities for him. That also opens up opportunities for Williams because I don't think Albon he's good, but I don't think he's like, if you want a championship winning team, you want someone better, or maybe like they want to look for like a rookie. And then if you have Sainz a year after that, you have a veteran, and then you have your new guy. I think Sainz, one, they're probably paying him well. Mm-hmm. 2, I think James Vowles will continue to sell the team. Obviously, money talks. But I think also if you're Sainz, how many options do you actually have? Ferrari dumped you. Red Bull dumped you. McLaren has a dream driver lineup, to be honest.
He's already been at McLaren.
Yeah,
didn't end well.
And you were at McLaren. I forgot about that. So
technically he was already with Alpine when it was Renault. So and go to Haas, Aston.
Yeah, most likely you're not going to Mercedes. What you kind of almost need Williams to do well, right? And I think 2028. Fernando's signed till 2028, I believe. So maybe you're waiting for Aston. That would be the only big opportunity I see, unless like Audi or you don't want. He's not going to go to VCAR. Like you start checking the boxes of teams he's not going to go to.
Yeah.
And it's.
I mean, how long is Hülkenberg there? So there may be an opportunity at Audi, but I think on the other side of that coin, when you look at it from Williams' perspective, I think you've got to be pretty happy with this. When you look at where they are as a team, where they want to be, they have experience, but they're also really they're still relatively young, right? These aren't the senior drivers on the grid right now.
No.
And so this puts them right in that sweet spot of experience, but still, fresh. And So I think that they've got to be pretty happy, and that's probably why they've jumped at this and re-signed both guys.
Yes, I mean I agree. I think the experience is big. I mean Sainz is a multiple race winner, so that's definitely someone you want on the team. Williams has a good history. I mean I think they'll get there. I don't know if they're going to be like a top four team. I mean who knows? But currently, I mean I think the goal is to be top of the midfield. I don't really see them competing next year for a top four. Maybe end of the regulation they look pretty good, but right now it looks ugly.
Yeah, I think you would be hard pressed to see them at the top of the field anytime soon. But some consistent points and maybe a P5 constructors in the cards for sure.
I think that would be a huge win for them.
Wrapping up some of our more recent news. So change of leadership at Cadillac. New team principal. I dropped the ball and did not write down the new principal's name. However, I know a little bit about him. So unnamed team principal. I know. Still finding my bearings.
And
which way's up?
I don't even know the name of the principal either. So we have nothing.
So they've made the change. The goal being to create more technical leadership. It really feels like they're trying to speed up their development timeline here, which I think should be taken well. I think that means they feel like they're in a position where they can accelerate their progression. So I think as a team, Cadillac fans, you have to be excited about this.
Yeah.
Unnamed team principal has a background in aero. Thank you for doing the research. Has a background in aero and experience at multiple teams. I think he's been at Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren, if I'm not mistaken. So
Marcin Badowski, does that sound right? Yeah.
Sure, you literally could have said any name ever, and I would have said yep, that's him.
Yeah, effectively, Marcin Badowski. Let's see.
Yeah.
Give me some more info, please.
Clearly, we are massive Cadillac fans and completely up to speed on their team dealings.
I feel like I have to look so high on my second monitor. I don't do this when we're... Okay, here we go. Info. Wikipedia. Employers: Prost, 2001 to 2, Ferrari, McLaren, FIA, Renault, Alpine to Cadillac. So he's been around.
Yeah, he's been around and with some good drivers.
25 years in Formula One, and he's been at the FIA. So been a little bit of everything.
Oh, maybe find some loopholes.
Loopholes. Yeah, I mean, good for Cadillac. I have been happily surprised by their team this year. Obviously, they're not cranking out points or anything, but they have a P13 in Monaco, which Perez screwed up getting points because he could not line up on the grid correctly twice. But they, for a first year in Formula One, they don't look bad. So I think they're probably ahead of where they thought. So like you said, I think this is a smart move. They're getting a ton of experience in this guy, Marcin. Could take me a while to remember that. Good for them. I mean, we'll see how it works out. I don't know if we'll really see that this year, the effect. So I think
there's so much movement right now with the other teams that it's going to take some off-season work for them to make any kind of significant jump up the order. So sounds like they're getting the right pieces in play and trying to accelerate. So good on them.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, maybe next year they'll be semi-competitive, but I would assume year 3 is where you would expect Cadillac to be heavily committed or competing in the midfield. That would be my expectation. Not necessarily top of midfield, but they should be fighting.
Those.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, should we jump to some of the outlooks of some of our front of the pack leaders?
Let's do it. What do you think about Kimi? So I want to say hot streak, but he only won 1 out of the last 5. Kind of weird. He had some bad luck, but we'll say hot streak because he's been a monster all year. fast pace, looks like the fastest driver, very consistent when it comes, even if he falls back, like the dude has pace, doesn't make a lot of major errors. Can he
Mhm.
continue that, or is he going to be an Oscar?
Yeah, this is the point at which Oscar began to show cracks. Um, I think we're gonna have to wait and see, right? It's impossible to know. We're coming off of summer break and some time off. Although I'm sure he was training and getting on the simulator, and it's not like he's gonna be rusty.
He was surfing,
But
bro.
love it, love it. But you don't know, right? So you're gonna have to wait and see. I do still think he's in total control of this championship, and it's going to take something major like a Piastri level collapse to really change things at this point. So, Lewis is P2 in the championship right now. Ferrari, frankly, looks like the third best car. So I think momentum is with him. He's just got to survive the pressure.
I think the true, it's not even, well, yeah, can Kimi pick up where he left off? But I think the real question here is, can George show up?
No, no, he cannot.
I agree with you, but George has gotten lucky with Kimi's had two failures that have cost him race wins. He should be massively in front. So this is the only opportunity he has to turn it around. If George doesn't show up, probably Kimi's championship. And I agree with the Ferrari comment. I think McLaren's jumped to number 2. So I think that's probably going to be the main competitor. Quick stats on Mercedes, by the way. I have them pulled up. I actually did the research on this, and we got excited about this like a week ago. Mercedes ground effect era, 7 wins, 8 poles, 447 laps led. The first half of this season, Mercedes, 8 wins, that's one more than an entire era, 10 poles, 2 more than an entire era, 449 laps led. 2 more than an entire era. So I would say Mercedes is very good right now, and if they don't win the championship, it'll be very confusing. I don't know,
Does
confusing.
it say more about their dominance this season or how trash their ground effect era car was?
I probably trash ground effect era because I
I
think we would
agree.
have to look up the stats of the other top teams to kind of compare that. Like, I mean, Red Bulls would be flopped, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to remember some of those are like George Russell gambles or
It's a
Max
one
and
stop.
Lando taking each other out
It's a
and
one
like,
stop,
things that
guys.
fell to him. So, I mean, that easily could have been 5 wins, right?
Yeah.
Just within the last few
I mean,
years,
I can
the wins
recall
that they've
2
had.
George wins from calling a one stop. That's 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, pretty impressive what they've been able to do in the development of that car. And yeah, it's going to take something massive to unseat them as the top dogs this season. Um, Time will tell. What about your boy? He's had some bad luck, but ultimately, if you take inventory, he really should have been 4 for 4 out of the last 4 races on podiums. And really, if you think about it, 6 podiums out of the last 7 if you go back to his issues at Monaco that unseated him. So the car's good. Max is Max. Home track. Is this a recipe for a first Red Bull win of the season?
I won't get into any of my predictions, but I will talk about
But
Max and the
yes.
Red Bull. I definitely, without spoiling predictions, I definitely think there's a shot that he wins. I think there's a lot of factors into this. I mean, you could go down the line like signed a massive contract, home race. Home races in any sport or what home race, home game, whatever, it always gives people the sauce. Like they always got
Unless
some
you're Oscar
something.
Piastri.
Unless you're Oscar Piastri, poor guy, man. I love Oscar
That's
too. It's
below the belt, man. That
he
was.
just gets kicked in
I
the nuts in
apologize.
Australia.
I apologize.
Um, he's great. I mean, until the McLaren car ended up being really good the last 2 years, he's dominant here. And I think the stats show Max is having a great driving year, with the tractor again. And it's not that bad, but compared to the
I
other
don't
top
even think it's
cars,
a
it's
tractor. I think there's been between bad starts and rear wing failures, he's been let down by the car. I don't think it's a
yes.
bad car when it
Well,
works
I'm
well,
saying
but there's
compared to
been,
the top four, I think, well, McLaren and him both kind of had the tractors for a moment, but I think Max once again is outperforming his car. I think if
I
Red
mean, Max is
Bull,
going to outperform any car.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, he's having a great driving season when there's not catastrophic failures. I think if
Mhm.
Red Bull get the tweaks right, I think he's not going to win the championship, but I think he has a chance to, show up again and be like, "Hey, I'm still here. I'm not gonna come back and win this year, but I'm a try type thing."
I agree. I think this is the best chance he's had all season, and would not be surprised to see him on the podium, possibly the top step.
Yeah, we'll get to predictions. I'm gonna try not to say too much, right?
I know you too well.
Let's go to. Damn it. Let's go to Ferrari and McLaren. I could talk about Red Bull all day, and I'm on like a mega high because the contract. And I've always loved Max, and the hardest thing when we've talked about this all season, like is he staying, is he going, is I feel like I mean, we started the podcast. This is the most involved in the sport I've been, like as time has gone on, and then there's potential that like my favorite driver was just gonna dip. It is like heartbreaking. It's like having
Yeah.
your childhood team in a sport, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, they're not in the league anymore, by the way. It's like, what? Um, So, and it's nice that he's at Red Bull because we talk about like I would root for Max no matter what team he's on, but still be a Red Bull fan. So this is kind of nice that I get best of both worlds and we still get to talk junk to each other. Um, it'd be fun to see Lando cry every time Max beats him on McLaren, but we don't
No,
have to go
Sad
down that
Boy's
road
gone.
anymore.
So he's got a
Oh, sorry.
championship under his belt. Sad Boy's gone. He's not a crybaby anymore. Um,
Transition. McLaren's won the last 2 years.
yep. So, McLaren brought upgrades to Hungary. Car looked good. Lando got his win.
I think good is an understatement. I think it looked great. That if
Yes, it
Piastri
did.
didn't
Well,
fail, that's a 1-2.
yeah. Similar. Well, yeah, I guess so. Other circumstances between Carlos Sainz impeding and other things, but we won't.
They should have had a 1-2. Let's just put it
Yeah.
that way.
Agreed. There are similarities. I know that we talked about kind of the uniqueness of Zandvoort, but there are similarities in terms of the types of corners as what we saw in Hungary. And so the fact that McLaren's package worked so well in Hungary, it's a similar track, and McLaren is bringing more upgrades this week, tied to recent success here over the last few years. I'm quite optimistic about their opportunities here. This is not a power dependent circuit. Power always matters. But on a track like this, they may have the capabilities to bring the fight to Mercedes and win here. So I think this is possibly one of the first races this season where we could see possibly 3 different teams the fighting for that lead, like genuinely fighting for a win. It could be Max, could be Lando, it could be Oscar, it could be Kimi. It's not going to be George.
Okay, it's not going to be Ferrari the way you're just talking.
Well, yeah, kind of clues you in as far as where I'm headed with my Ferrari predictions here, but it definitely suggests that they're in the conversations for at minimum podium, possibly the win here. I feel really good about McLaren's chances this weekend.
Without repeating everything you said, I agree. I think McLaren is the second team to beat. I think this weekend will be a very good indicator of where they're at versus Mercedes. And kind of like we've talked about over and over again, I really hope Liam's a freaking Red Bull. I was gonna say it'd be nice to have like the top 4 teams fight with all their drivers. Then I realized someone has a broken wrist. It'll be nice to have the 4 teams, the 3 top teams, and Max as usual fight for the podium. It would be exciting. Like no DNF on the top. No
Mhm.
one bends it. I mean, if there's weather and stuff, whatever. But it would just be nice to see that fight. It's not just the Mercs fighting. It's not just the Ferraris. Kimmy's not 35 seconds ahead. That's very stupid to say as a Max fan because I love when he just smokes everybody. And probably you as Lando when he was winning his championship, it's nice to just see them off in the distance. But it would nice to see just like a good elbows out fight with more than two teams. All four would be great. Like give me some, you know, Lando, Kimmy, Max. I really want to say Charles, but probably Lewis form wise. But yeah,
I
or Oscar. I mean, just throw Oscar in there.
Yeah, I'm definitely trending down on Ferrari. Maybe I'm a homer. I am. But to me right now it feels like, at least small sample size of Hungary, it feels like McLaren has the chops to win races where corners are more emphasized than straights. So, looking ahead, Monza, Baku, that's a Mercedes track right now. Like if,
Yeah.
if that's not a Kimi win, I would be surprised. But when it comes to tracks like this, I think that we can expect McLaren to be fighting for P1 pretty consistently at this point. And so I'm not ready to say that they have the best car, but I think in certain scenarios they have a better car than Mercedes in ways, not overall, but in ways. And so if they're able to extract that, there's opportunity.
I think they've kind of taken what Ferrari should have been, right? Like Ferrari had the advantage in the corner tracks, but failed to really upgrade their straight line speed. I feel like McLaren has a way better rounded car. Still probably aren't gonna have this like the straight as
Well, they're
Mercedes, you said.
disadvantaged to Mercedes in the
I
straights for sure.
think the team that can compete in the straight line is Red Bull. Ferrari can't. McLaren's closer.
Mhm.
Red Bull, has the best via, ADLU, which I think is bullcrap. But I think you're right. I think it has been track specific all year. I mean, Mercedes has
It
looked strong,
seems
but that
it,
seems to
it's
be the trend is where you can deploy your battery in
It
corners.
seems like more technical tracks, what we're going to see is McLaren and Mercedes fighting for the win. Max is an outlier. I'm not going to factor that in right now. But then when you get to Monza, Baku, tracks with longer straights that are more power dependent, it does feel like Red Bull has the capability to enter that conversation, and that McLaren is probably going to take a relative step back at those tracks. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out, but yeah, like I said, I feel really good about this weekend. Not so hot about Ferrari. They looked a little rough. They've been sloppy. There's been penalties, mistakes, impeding. They haven't been able to match the development cycle, and they've fallen a little bit behind. Still lacking on power, and until they correct that, it does sound like they're bringing another upgrade when we get to Monza. I think we're still some weeks away from that. So yeah, I mean, I think for me, you got to be looking at like Ferrari and Red Bull kind of being in the same. Well, when I say Red Bull, I'm really talking about Max this weekend. Ferrari and Red Bull being in the same place. Yeah, it's different.
Like
well, I think if Hadjar's there, I think it's a little different.
Yes,
and then
definitely.
I think we'll see McLaren and Mercedes fighting. So that's kind of the two battles that I'm looking for is Merc McLaren and then Ferrari Red Bull. However, the X factor is Max, home race. Confidence around here goes a long way. And I think it's entirely possible to see Max win.
Absolutely.
So I think the other team that's probably worth talking about is Alpine. They looked pretty good at the beginning of the season. We're getting double points. Colapinto has actually been doing well, keeping pace with Gasly. Both drivers have been doing well. However, it really does feel like we need more juice. Like the car's not underneath them, right? They need a little bit
Like
something more to keep up with
radio.
VCARB.
I need more power. I need more power, guys.
Yeah, and so I think this weekend presents an opportunity with VCarb and Yuki stepping into that seat. He's going to be behind the learning curve with again one practice session to get underneath the car, um, get the car underneath him, um, and so I think this really is an opportunity for Alpine to sneak back into that top 10 and snag some points while VCarb is down a man. Really,
Huge opportunity. It's exactly what I said earlier about like the Hadjar injury actually screws VCarb up more than, maybe not more than Red Bull, but constructors wise, I think it definitely affects VCarb more. Um, and I think Alpine and Audi definitely need to jump on this. I think Alpine is the one that needs to really. They should be stepping up. I think it'd be very disappointing to not have both drivers top 10. And by top 10, I mean like, 8, 9, 10, not much more than that.
there's not much room elsewhere.
No, I think if Liam's not up there, I think Lindblad's going to be fighting.
Yeah, my gut feeling is that Liam and Lindblad will still finish ahead. However, Yuki being in that seat just presents an opportunity for that P9 spot, P10, something
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And then our last team that I wanted to focus on is this is the big one. Aston is bringing the Honda engine upgrade. Where on earth is this going to put them in terms of performance pecking order?
My brain on this one.
It's a crapshoot, man.
It is a crapshoot because Hungary was a tease because it was not a heavy battery deployment track. Like,
yes, but on the other hand, we saw how well that chassis performed with still a pretty crap engine.
No, it did. It did well. I have no doubt that their aero is way better. It's just like we haven't had a big enough sample size to see actually what it is. I mean, this would go for any car, but they were so low, it's hard to tell like how high they actually moved. I do believe that they will have a big improvement. I don't think they're going to jump straight to like the top of the midfield. I could see with the team that is in place there, and if they actually got it right, I could see them being pretty darn competitive quick though. Like they have all the right pieces, right? Mm-hmm. I know we joke about the like top Honda guys all like dip in as soon as they're done with Red Bull and stuff, but Honda has a good track record in recent years. Adrian Newey has built some of the best race cars ever created. Aston has the facilities, the money. You have Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll. Everyone makes fun of him, but he's not. I don't know. I was going to say he's not the worst driver out there, but he might be. But when they've had a good car, he doesn't do poorly necessarily. I'll put it that way. Like if he has a competitive car, he's going to be fighting.
I believe he finished ahead of Alonso. Yeah. I think it was in Hungary. Go back and fact check that. But yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't think they are immediately jumping up to the 5th best team. But I think this is going to get them possibly into the points, if not fighting in a pretty serious way for those points positions. So who knows? Engine could blow up and we could see a double DNF because there's been no reliability testing, and who knows, right? It's a total crapshoot. We're completely guessing here, but I think given the way that this upgrade was talked about, given the way that chassis looked in Hungary, all signs point to momentum, and I think for that reason I'm leaning to be more optimistic here than I probably should be in reality, but I want to see them do well. I want to see that car get better.
I'm kind of with you because I want them in fighting. Like you had said, it's a fairly similar track to Hungary, so I think this will be kind of a good indicator of like what this new Honda engine does for them, because their aero should be fairly similar. I could see them slipping in with Audi or maybe slightly behind them if it works out very well. I would, if they don't jump Williams, then I don't know what to say. I think that
To the drawing
that would
board.
be sad with how much
Yep.
hype is behind this, and like I mean they recreated their car for
But
like you need to be better than Williams. Like you need to be.
well, I think we're still waiting for Baku for Williams' big upgrade. So if you don't pass them up in
Before that,
yeah, what are we doing? So I don't know. I'm optimistic.
for the sake of this season, I hope they jump in there. That's Cadillac will be off on their own. That's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. Aston
Yeah.
should be V carb, in my opinion, that
Yeah.
or better. The way that team has, they were like this close to being a top team, and then they kind of just fell off.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm optimistic too, but let's move on to the fun stuff that we've been
Predictions?
holding off on. Predictions. We're not
Dancing
doing the
around our
sprint.
answers. Nope, this is GP only. So as a season recap, we started midway through here, so and we've kind of sucked the last few races.
X Factors were terrible.
Yeah, so
I
so
shot myself in the foot pretty bad.
we make predictions for our front row, our podium. We also do something called Guess the Grid.
I hope nobody saw that. I just
Roll
went
the
to
wheel.
drink like I have a straw.
I thought the straw went up your nose or something more fun than that. So guess the grid. We get a wheel spin, and we'll figure out what position we're guessing. And then we do X factors. And the thing about X factors is you can do as many as you want up to your point total. So I have 3 points on the season. Zach has 4, but it's a gamble. So you get it right, you get a point. You get it wrong, you lose a point. And boy, has that bit us a number of times.
I was
already
doing
this
pretty well
season.
until last time. I think I got like negative a
I know.
couple last time.
I get sucked in by the gambling of it. We've talked about this before. I'm not a gambler, but when there's no risk to the gambling, I just let it fly.
Same.
Just let it fly. So, whose turn is it to go first? You remember? We were
Summer
alternating.
break, man. I don't know.
You want to go first, or should I? Either way,
I feel like you have yours picked.
I do
better
have
than
mine picked.
so you could go first.
Okay, that gives you an advantage, but fine.
I mean, I'll throw it down. I'm cool. Like,
No, I'll go. It's good. So I've got my front row qualifying front row. Lando Max.
I knew you were gonna say that, and we can't say the same thing, right?
You could
We
go
haven't
Max
really
Lando.
discussed that.
I don't think we should be able to have the same thing. I don't think so.
That's fine, I'll change
I
it.
think McLaren looks good. Track history here, upgrades. Lando won in Hungary, feeling good. And I think I'm gonna lean into the Max X factor here. He's rolling off of a new contract. He's feeling good. He's at his home race. Car is fixed. I think we're gonna see the best version of Max that we've seen. So feel good about that. Podium, or should we alternate here? Do you want to go your front
I think
row?
we
or
should
I go
alternate.
podium first. Alternate.
You want me to say my
So-
front row though?
Say your front row.
Max Kimmy.
I like it.
I think narrow margins here. I think qualifying is going to be dope. Tends to be. We've had some very close ones.
Yeah, I agree. So my podium, Lando,
I thought. Okay, never mind. Go. You're good. You already
Lando,
said Lando.
Max, Kimmy. I think we've been just drinking from the same juice.
We have been. I mean, I was going to say the same front row, but I can't put the exact same front row.
It's the advantage
Max,
of going first.
Kimmy, Lando.
I hate you. Don't do that to my boy. Yep, I think. Well, I think we're gonna get the same amount of points there, regardless. But it's fine.
Here's my thought process on this. I think this is like I'm imagining this because it was just like the perfect send off of Zandvoort if Max wins. No one would deny that. I think Max isn't necessarily the fastest one on the track, but I think Lando and Kimi end up fighting, and I think Max gets an advantage from that. Because I think
Wouldn't mind
those are
that.
the two guys that have the pace right now. It's Kimmy and Lando. I think they're going to fight, and Max is going to benefit from that somewhere.
I would not mind that, but Lando's going to finish P2
That's cool too.
in
As
that
long as
in that
Max
equation.
wins, I don't care.
Um,
Spin the
wheel.
wheel.
Spin the wheel. And so we're doing positions 1 through 10 here, and so close your eyes, envision a very colorful, spinny graphic, and P5. P5.
Quick thoughts, quick thoughts, quick thoughts. Charles.
I was gonna say Lewis. So
Oh,
we're
this is
both on
great.
that Ferrari
I was
train.
tempted for Lewis.
Okay.
Right. I like it.
And
Ferraris.
X Factor. So this is another one that I've prepared where it's a two-parter and both things need to be true. If one is true and one is false, no points. Both things to happen. Aston Martin and Alpine points.
Wow. I like it. It's bold.
You
This won't
told me
count.
earlier in the season to get spicier.
I like it.
So I got
I like
spicier.
it. I had some spicy ones. This won't count towards your thing at all. I'm assuming you're thinking Alonso, but who do you think from Alpine will get the points?
Gasly based on experience.
Okay, that's fair.
I think
I think
Colapinto's
if it gets,
capable,
I think
but I
if
think
we
it's
have
too
weather,
crowded.
I think if we have weather, that is a very good prediction, especially with the experience.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I had an X factor when we started, and I can't remember what it was. So give me a second. That's not helping at all. My brain, dude.
You're just listening to my off-tune voice is all you're doing. You're not thinking about your X factors. Give me something.
What would you consider a slow pit stop? Like over 3.5 seconds? I mean, 3.5 seconds is a slow pit stop.
I would say it's a poor pit stop. I wouldn't say slow. My gut is like 4.5, 5 seconds.
No, yeah, I can't do that. That's too high. Nope. You know what? George has a problem in a pit stop. We'll figure out. We'll know if he has an issue in a pit stop. It'll be like a wheel or something.
Yeah. And
I'm just gonna go with his bad luck. I'm just gonna roll with it.
So is it just anything like he rolls in deep, he hits a mechanic, he's got a bad
something that like we know his pit stop did not go well.
Okay.
So I mean, if he has like a 3.5 second pit stop, it was poor. But if he has like a 5.5 second pit stop, it's like, okay, that sucked. They can't get the nut off the wheel guns, and they're spinning. They got to bring in the backup jack guy, like something. Can't get his new front wing on. Something. They put a soft and a medium on.
Okay. Well, so predictions locked in. I think excited and eager to finally have Formula One back in my life.
Baby.
And yeah.
And it's a sprint weekend.
So
I can't
glad
wait.
that it's a sprint weekend. I love sprint weekends.
Yeah, my kids got Formula One shirts now. We're locked and loaded to watch, and my two oldest are old enough that they'll actually sit and watch the sprint for sure. Definitely a good part of the Grand Prix, but
Yeah. A little difficult to get the youngins sitting there for 2 hours.
Becoming more of a family affair, so that's exciting. But we're excited. We hope you guys are excited, and we will be talking to you after the weekend. So enjoy. Bye.
Bye.